Welcome to Warcraft Reloaded, a podcast brought to you by Mash Those Buttons, covering World of Warcraft Classic and its community. I am Bobby, aka Blazin' Bob, and today we have a full house. First off, we have Mel, aka Melderon. How you doing?
I'm great. Obviously, the most wonderful of the guests that we have today. Well, okay, the most wonderful of the regular people we have tonight.
And then we also have Ryan, aka Cognitive Pit. How you doing, brother?
The man of many names. I'm good. I'm not tired this week, but I just had hot pot, so I'm like relaxed. I'm kind of just chill today.
Awesome.
What is hot pot?
It's good.
It's like you got broth, like really tasty broth boiling in front of you, and you just have like assorted meats and veggies, and you put them in and cook them, and you eat them.
It's called
right out of it.
fondue.
It's great.
Oh, okay.
No, it's no.
That's the white man version.
First of all, fondue is like cheese, and you don't cook the stuff in it, right? You just
Yes,
dip
you
it
do.
in.
You cook it in broth.
No, it's cooked. No,
You could be right.
dip it in cheese.
We go to the melting pot, and the full service is you start with the cheese, then you go on to cooking your meats and veggies in the broth, then you go on to the chocolate.
That's called appropriation, not fondue.
Appropriation. I like that. Yeah, exactly what it is.
Oh man! And then we're also joined once again by Melderon. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, Bob. Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Awesome. And for the first time ever, you've heard about him on the show before. Melderon has talked about him. Ayle, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Oops. And Al dropped off the.
No.
I changed my mind. I don't want to do this.
Well,
As he's saying, like, and it just goes off. Let me just find out what
oh boy,
it says. He's offline too.
this is
Oh,
Once he heard that fondue comment from Mel,
like, I
he
can't-
knew he was gone.
this
What did I
is
sign
what
up
you
for?
get with the live version of the show.
Oh my god.
Ayle, you reconnected for a second. Is everything okay?
Yeah,
Think it's
someone
good.
crashed my Discord, I guess.
Oh, huh. Well, you're back. So
back.
Okay.
welcome to the show, Ayle.
Again, now you've been on it twice. So,
Awesome.
you know.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Awesome. All right, so this is going to be a crazy jam-packed show. We're going to start off with regular housekeeping. Then we're going to move on to covering the news. Then we're going to get to know Ayle a little bit better. And then if we have time, we'll talk about our fun times so far in the beta, because everybody here is in and been playing quite a bit. So with that being said, let's start moving into it. So the YouTube contest was kind of just designed to like entice audio listeners to come help us get a little more traction on YouTube, but hasn't worked out the best. So I'm not gonna we're still gonna do the last contest, but I'm not gonna bore you guys with mentioning it on the show again. But we will finish out the podcast. We will do the live drawing at the end of it, but that's the last I'm gonna say of it. So we had some new reviews. Take it away. Yep.
Yeah, the first is a review from Soggy Peach. Okay, that's a good name. I like it. Devoted listener. Love the show. Have been listening for quite a while. Definitely helps on those long commutes. It's great to hear about things happening on my own server, even though I'm on Horde. Oh, I've got a white main Horde listening. Side note, instead of one to be fair per person, we should make it one per episode. This could get interesting. Well, Mel's just gonna steal it from me, I think.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh,
Soggy
man.
Peach.
Thank you.
It's good. Thank you. Yeah. I wonder next time, or if you can edit your review, tell me your name, and I wonder if I've killed you before, and or more likely you've killed me before.
Curious.
And then we have another review from Whackmaster Funk. Progression through a listener. My favorite thing about listening to your podcast is how genuine everyone is on the show. Unfortunately for me, my vanilla experience was a lot of MMO hopping with my friends, looking for the next best thing like Warhammer or Age of Conan. This was all during the boom of the MMO genre. We barely rated in vanilla, and I regret that fully, but listening to your progression in Classic gives me a certain fulfillment on what I didn't experience, and I thank you for that. Keep up the great work, and I look forward to the journey into TBC and beyond. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks for your
Supposed to
review.
say that like Buzz Lightyear.
To
infinity
TBC
and beyond.
TBC
I don't know.
and beyond.
Ad infinitum et ultra.
Oh my gosh, dude! I had forgot about Age of Conan.
Yeah, I
Completely
never
forgot about it.
played that. I did play Warhammer. Warhammer was pretty cool. It was like really interesting PvP. And I was totally like this too. I remember not being, I think the biggest one for me was like Wrath of the Lich King when it came out. I was like, I'm never playing WoW again. I don't care about Wrath of the Lich King, because there were just a lot of MMOs people were playing back in the day. There's so many more coming out, I feel like, than now.
Yeah, I played the beta of both, but didn't actually play the game of either. I played a lot of betas, but never played the game because I was
Makes sense.
pretty broke at the time too. So
I'm kind of looking forward to the Amazon one. Is that still happening, like New World or something?
I think it is,
Like a
but I
third
think
person?
it's going slow. I think, but that should be interesting.
We'll start a New World podcast next.
Oh, so like let's catch up with Melderon. Like, how have you been? Like, you haven't been on the show for a bit. You've been having a good time in WoW.
Guild far apart yet?
No, we're still going strong. We're it's one of those things where we just recently we're going to take a week off of AQ next week because people are getting tired of it, and I totally understand that. It's a drag.
Yeah,
Huh?
we're
Doing
doing
the same
something
thing?
very like we just basically turned it to the guild is only running Nax as as an actual DKP earning.
I think that's the way to go, honestly, right now. It's getting to the point now, if there are any upgrades from AQ, it's just like, all right, come on, do we really need it to progress? It's one of those things where, but the beta obviously is out now, so all my attention is really drawn towards that. And
It's killing my
let me just
freaking
tell
prep,
you.
dude.
Yeah.
It's killing
Yeah.
it. Like, I'm just like spending on consumes, but not
Yes.
farming.
I'm doing the same. So I spent like an hour today farming demonic runes. It was during a really boring work meeting. I said, well, okay, I can't play the beta because it's too engaging. I'll just farm demonic runes, right? So I got like 3, and I'm like, fuck this, I'm done. I can't take this anymore. No, so I just but Outland's been, it's such a breath of fresh air to be an Outland. My God,
It's really
fun.
cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun for sure.
What
I'm
about
also
you?
out of mold entirely.
What have you been doing recently, Ale? Just beta?
Pretty much all beta since the beta came out, of course. Before that, I was actually kind of going back into some PvP, which I haven't done enough of in Classic, and I'm hoping we'll change that up with arenas and whatnot on the horizon. And of course, raiding with Def and Mel as well. So
yeah, Ale raids with us. He's he raids with us on his mage. So the warrior is still the onslaught warrior. He'll never not be an onslaught warrior, right? Not until TBC, at least.
last week was actually my best week on the mage yet. So
Yeah, he did really well.
Nice,
There you
nice.
what up?
What about you, Yip? What have you been up to?
Not too much. I've been kind of busy. I haven't been able to play a ton of WoW outside of raiding, which, like I just said, is a problem because so I'm doing this series on my Paladin where I'm seeing how much gold I can make grinding to 60. So I'm like 36 and I've got maybe almost 1,000 gold, and I'm out of gold on my warrior pretty much for consumes, but I don't want to touch that other gold because I'm supposed to see how much I make till 60. So I've got 1,000 gold sitting on the character, and I'm just like, I guess I have to go farming on my warrior right now. So that's been cool. Been dipping my toes in the TBC beta a bit and looking at grind spots. That's what I like to do. And yeah, I mean it's been a lot of fun, but been remodeling my house a little bit, so it's hard. Every hour I play in WoW is an hour less of painting I can do. So hopefully soon I'll be back in full action.
Awesome. Yeah, and Mel and I have been playing the beta. We haven't done a bunch of dungeons. We're hoping to get some in this weekend, but we've been doing a ton of questing, right?
Yeah, it's because I love questing.
So
You guys are psychos.
questing's so good.
It's so good on
so
TBC.
fun.
I can't wait to do it in TBC, but I can't do it now and then go redo it when TBC comes out. I'm just not that kind of player.
It's just
But also,
so much
we're gonna
easier
be dungeon
right now.
grinding when TBC comes out. Actually,
True.
Like, we're not going to be going and doing all these quests because we're going to quests. That's how you say it, plural. because we're gonna dungeon grind. So this is
It's
my
so
chance.
alt friendly though. Like I'm gonna be doing quests probably at least on my paladin. My mage,
Yeah.
I'll probably AOE farm to 70. I'm not sure yet, but I'll
You
definitely lead
decided?
quest on a character.
You decided you're going to do dungeon grinding to 70?
Yeah, I
so.
mean, yeah, I
Semi?
think that's the plan, or like 68 or something, and then Karazhan and whatever else to clean up. I think a lot of us are planning to dungeon grind.
It's just
I
so
will
much
say-
better for the rep. Like that's the problem.
It is, but like, dude, I'll just say this: the quests are so much better designed.
They're
in
so
my
good.
opinion.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. They're just so interactive. Like there's one where you, like you and Rexar fight like this giant Gron. It's so cool. I don't know, man. I really like
who's
quests.
Rexar? No,
Who's Rexar?
I'm joking.
How dare you?
Yeah, so I have a feeling, I have a sneaking suspicion. So my initial gut reaction is White Mane is going to be held a quest in those first couple of days. In reality, it'll probably be like the AQ release where there's an alliance layer and a horde layer, and we're just kept entirely apart. And if that's the case, then questing will probably be fine, and maybe I'll do some questing in there. But I'm planning on dungeon grinding because just with how much PvP goes on in White Mane, my plan can't be to quest because it could just be impossible.
Yeah.
Well, I
The
mean,
horde on our server are psycho. Okay.
to be fair, the mob respawns are really good. Actually, like I mean, I have like they're respawning actually too good often. Like I'll kill a bunch of mobs, I'll sit and drink, and then two of them spawn right on top of me. You know, it's so that
Do you
part's
think
been
that's
good.
just the beta, or do you think that's actually how?
I'm assuming it's the dynamic respawns where they have to have a certain amount of mobs in one area at all times. I think.
Yeah, we'll
Very
see
nice.
how it ends up looking in the actual beta. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll be crazy if it's just alliance there, right? Like, I don't think it'll be like, oh, I can't get a quest mob. But if there's 50-50 horde alliance, people are gonna go psycho. Some people target Vargflocken a little bit. We've had a couple psycho PvPers in our guild who kind of
Sure.
gained the ire of the horde. So I don't know. We'll see.
I also
I
feel
do like the questing in
alliance.
PvC though.
Yeah,
TBC questing is great.
alliance and PvP are these like we're very much like, oh, they're fighting them, so let's get out of here while we can. Whereas the horde on our server, I feel like are, oh, somebody's fighting that horde over there. Everybody to the rescue!
It's
And,
it's like the alliance will trip the guy next to him so that they can get away.
yeah,
Yeah.
right?
That's exactly what it's like. We were running to a binding run last night from Thorium Point to Blackrock Mountain, and one of our raiders stopped to fight a horde, and everyone ran by. They just 1v1.
Wow.
We're like, see ya. I'm not getting involved in that. I'm going to
Oh my
Multicore.
God, we didn't
I
even
can
have
tell
buffs.
you that we would have all dismounted and just charged that guy immediately. I guess this is the
a
horde
fundamental
mentality.
difference. I don't know. Like, I don't know if it stems from phase 2 because what
Yeah,
I
we're
used to
all
do, you used to
scarred.
wait for someone else to res and then
Yeah.
let them die, and you would res and try to run
They
by.
were your distraction, so you could get 5 extra steps into DM East.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. All right, well, let's go ahead and move into the news. So, Yip kind of hit on this like real quick on last week's episode, but Omar Gonzalez has left Blizzard and gone to work for one of the companies under Dreamhaven. He was at Blizzard for 18 years, so I mean, this is a long time. But what do you guys think of this? Whoever wants to jump in.
It's a big loss for Blizzard. I mean, I know Al can attest to this. We've met Omar and BlizzCon, and he's not only a stand-up guy, he's just got that kind of mind. He's like one of the old guard, one of the few remaining old guard left. And man, it's just seeing him goes. I mean, good for him, right? Obviously, like I give him all the credit in the world and congratulate him, but it's not good for Blizzard, I don't think. No.
Yeah, I talked about last time how it's not just Omar. There's been an exodus of really great talent from Blizzard that is worrying. Though last week when we talked about it, there was a reasonably big response of people saying that because of Omar's job, like there's really not much left for him to really care about in Classic, because like the tech, like it's basically his baby, the tech side of Classic to get it running for us. And now that it's up and running, it's sort of like, maybe he doesn't have as much to do. I mean, it's still a huge loss for Blizzard, but I'm sure this is a great move for him. But it's not great to see a bunch of great people leaving Blizzard. This is not.
Yeah, but at the same time, I do have to give it to him. I mean, he was there for 18 years. I mean, it might just be that he wants just a change. I mean, 18 years is a long time. And so I wish him luck, but I'm kind of bummed. Does anybody else have anything to add on it, though?
Yeah, same with me. I'm really bummed after meeting him and everything like that. Like, huge part of Classic, like the godfather of Classic almost, took it on his shoulders and made sure it happened. But what Blizzard loses, I think Dreamhaven gains for that. And it has me actually really excited, looking forward to whatever they come out with.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Oh, please.
It's kind of interesting, and maybe this is just like a broader topic to talk about sometimes. It's like a little bit. Does anyone else think it's weird that people who work on games have a weird amount of celebrity tied to them? Like, we're just talking about a guy moving jobs, and we're just 5 people talking about this guy who left his job for another job. It's just kind of bizarre, right?
Well,
I mean, people
yeah.
lose their mind when so and so's divorce is so and so, right? Like, it's I guess it's the same. Like, for me, I could care less who J-Lo's married to or whatever. Like, but this is like my J-Lo thing, I guess, right? Like, Omar's my J-Lo.
These are our gossip
Funny.
columns.
Yeah.
It's really funny, actually. There's a funny story about this specifically with Omar, because when we met him at BlizzCon, he was in the crowd watching one of the events with his wife, and a bunch of people went up to talk to him, and we're all talking to him, and his wife was kind of standing at the side. I think it might have actually been Doki Pri who went and talked to her, and she was laughing because she's just like, I can't believe this, because like, he's such a nerd, but like, all these people are just in love with him. This is like his 15 minutes of fame or whatever, right? Like, having all these nerds just there, like, soaking it in, right?
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
that way.
Well, it's funny too, because that's not how it used to be. I mean, Kevin Jordan's talked about it on a couple different shows about how they were kind of hidden from the public and protected, basically, and now they're in the public spotlight. It actually might make it a lot harder for them to actually work. I mean, it might be actually kind of a bummer for them. I mean, BlizzCon's awesome because like everybody you usually meet loves what you do, with a passion. But being in the limelight might have a bad effect on a lot of them. It's just my
Josh
thoughts.
talked last week about like trying to get a developer on the show for Classic, and it's funny because like I would understand Blizzard's side. A lot of these people are not they're not media trained. They didn't sign up for this sort of thing at all. They're if I'm a background engineer and suddenly everyone wants me on a show or something, I can see how Blizzard would be afraid of that a little bit.
For sure. I think Omar is one of the people though, like he's a class act, and I think he doesn't fall into that category of like too nerdy to be like, to function. He's a really easy to talk to. Like, and Ayle, I think Ayle also, we said this together. It's like, we came to him with like ideas or even grievances, and he's like, have you thought about this perspective? And we're like, holy crap, no. Like,
those are the best people to talk to, man.
You know what I mean? And I'm just like, wow, like, it opened my mind to a developer. I've never developed a game, right? So it's one of those things where I'm like, now I understand why they do some of the things they do. Not everything, but some of the things they do,
Yeah. Well, we wish him the best, and we just hope that our classic game still stays cool. But that kind of brings me on to the next bit of news, and I've been kind of like, I haven't put this in the notes for kind of a reason. I kind of been avoiding this, but the Viridian Phase-Hunter has been renamed to the Reawakened Phase-Hunter, and it's a mount that people have data mined out of the beta, and many people are speculating store mount, and we haven't really talked about how we feel about it. It is cool that it fits in the world. I will say that. Like, that part is cool, but at the same time, if this goes on the store, I don't know, man.
Well, really collector edition mount. I don't think store mount, but like if there is a collector edition, which they've talked about for Burning Crusade, then I think it's like equivalent instead of the old Burning Crusade.
Why does it make you mad that it would be on the store?
Well, the store
It's
just
microtransactions.
is, yeah, the store got really bad after we left World of Warcraft. I know you didn't really follow anything, but I like listened to the instance for years after quitting, and that was how I kind of kept, because quitting for me was very hard, but that's how I kind of kept attached. And yeah, the store mounts just kept getting worse and worse. Like now they're just out of control. I mean, there's like what 400 or 500 mounts in retail or something like that.
Well,
You
I think
can
that's
literally-
actually I think it's a reason that this is worse here, in my personal opinion, because there's 500 mounts in retail. The fact that 40 of them come from the store is proportionally not a big deal. But think about Classic. There's almost no mounts. There's the Winter Saber. There's the mounts that you get in ZG, and then there's the class faction mounts.
And the PvP mounts, and that's about it, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Well, in
and
TBC,
PvP
there's
mounts
also
kind of-
the turtle. Remember the turtle?
yeah, the
Or was that
Glow
in Wrath?
turtle. I think that's Wrath, isn't it?
Wrath.
Maybe. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll just be brief on this because I feel like if I go on, I'll turn and people are going to hate me. Mounts in Classic should be earned through doing dungeons or PvP. That's it. Sorry, I have a very hard stance on this, and the fact that this breaks the contract, in my opinion, of the Classic game. When they told us there would never be this, there would never be that, and the boost is part of that too. To me, it's a contract break with the community.
I don't know. I feel like if they're going to add anything to a store and try to get people for some money, I feel like a mount that you can only buy in a store and you can't get anywhere else, you're just broadcasting that you paid money for a mount. Like, sure, fine. That's fine with me.
Yeah,
I'd rather it be that than something like gold or money that you can purchase that nobody, like, there's no stigma to that, right? I just don't have to farm as often. Like, I don't know. I think, in my opinion, cosmetic upgrades, if people want to buy them, go for it. I don't
Well,
care.
the one thing that buying a mount is actually buying gold in a way because you save that money that you would buy on that mountain game, especially if it's like an epic
Fair.
flyer thing that's like 600 or 800 gold that you'd paid for. That's like my main like thing that I don't like about it is that it is like a microtransaction in a sense that it does buy you power and that it saves you that gold.
That's why I would feel better if it was
Mm.
actually for gold. Like I still want them to put the trading card game items. I've been saying this for months. I want them to put them in for gold, like just to help gold sink. You know, I know it's not a true.
I've heard a
gold
lot of people
sink.
say they should put them in Hearthstone. That you can like add these mounts to Hearthstone to get people to
Hearthstone
buy more stuff over
Classic.
there.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean,
They did
my
come out
personal
with
opinion on
Hearthstone
this,
Classic.
if you want us to pay for Classic, which it sounds like they want us to do by releasing this sort of thing, why not make it the same as the collector's edition was in actual TBC? Why do like a whole new thing? That's just my opinion on it. I don't know. It just seems very weird. It is like slippery slope. Like I think we are past this sort of no changes thing, but I feel like microtransactions are a big change, not like a no changes thing. But this could just be what we're headed towards. We might just have to accept the fact that they're going to try to monetize Classic as much as possible. They might keep like the raid experience the same and the leveling experience the same, but they just have to add this extra stuff because they want retail players to come. They want people who like this sort of thing to be playing the game too, and not just like sweaty private server people. And this could just be what we have to accept as part of Classic going forward, unfortunately.
I mean, Josh said it last week. I mean, we hold this in our own hands, right? If nobody buys the mount.
right.
And,
But yeah, people are gonna
you know.
buy it. But
I mean,
I
I'll
like
probably
like
buy
your point.
I
Mel.
mean, I'll
I
probably
like your-
buy it too. I hate
Really?
myself.
Oh man, I like your point, Mel. It's like, I mean, I don't take this the wrong way, guys, but someone like me is gonna laugh at someone that's riding on that mountain and be like, "Ha!" You know what I mean? Like it's just kind of like I don't know, man.
Noob, you paid for a mount.
Exactly.
Get out of here.
I don't know. It's just, and I please don't take it the wrong way, guys. It's just I come from a very pure standpoint when it comes to Classic, and
Oh
At least
no, I
it's
don't.
not
Yeah,
a
I
mount
don't
that
take
you can
offense
get
at all.
in game or buy. That would be the worst. If it was a mount that you could get in game or you could buy it, because then you wouldn't know.
It depends on what they do with the collector's edition too. If there's like other interesting stuff like that, if it's just a mount, hey, pay us $30
it
and
is
and
not
you'll
a
get a mount,
collector's
I probably
edition,
will
right?
not do it. But if it's like, hey, we're gonna give you some I don't know. They don't really do it in retail either, but the old collector's editions were really cool. Like, I want my physical soundtrack and I want my mouse pad, and I like that's the stuff that I want out of a collector's edition,
Sure.
not just the digital product. So
Yeah, the books are what I really like. I've still got my
the
my
art books.
my Warcraft 3 collectors. I mean, I still have that book, and I still have the collector's edition. Like, I mean, those are awesome. Like, if they do something like that, then I'm definitely down for that.
But they won't. I mean, they're not going to do that. there's no way there's going to be a physical aspect to the classic TBC collector's edition.
Yeah.
Devil's advocate. Let's play devil's advocate for a second. Private servers did this shit too. So
Very true.
I think everyone gets really hard on Blizzard, and I'm doing the other side of the argument here. Like, I don't like it, right? But how many private servers have had mounts you could buy? How many private servers had level boosts? And I'm not saying that just because they did it, it's okay. But that whole like private servers were better mentality, like that shit existed there too. So you can't really blame, not every private server. Obviously, Nost didn't do this, right? But some of them did, a lot of them did, and a lot of them still do. So Endless does it, So I don't know. I'm just trying to kind of look at the middle for a second there.
Well, I mean,
As long as it's
to
not
go to
something I
that, though-
have to buy to be able to play the game at the highest level, then I don't care as much because I don't
Right, that's
have
what I mean.
to buy it.
That's what I mean about like coming to terms with it. Is I don't think they'll ever do anything. I mean, I guess they are doing a 58 boost. I guess that is kind of adding something in. But like, you're not going to be able to buy raid tier gear. You're not going to be able to buy probably like a 310 mount or something for flying. I don't think they would do anything crazy like that. We just might have to come to terms with, in order to monetize Classic and keep being able to enjoy Classic, we're gonna just have to, we're gonna have to see some people on mounts that didn't exist in TBC. That just might be what people have to come to terms with.
Well,
Yeah.
Melderon kind of reminded me of something that I didn't even think about. Like, I am actually, like, now I'm actually more against this than I was at the start of the conversation, because I never played like WoW private servers, but I played a few Ultima Online private servers. And I do remember I paid for like the boost, and I paid for this different stuff, and I paid for a mount. And then I was just like, well, this sucks. I'm done. Like, and I just saw all the other people on all the paid stuff, and I was like, this could have been so cool, but instead they just ruined it. And that's what I'm afraid of. We got the boost, we got the mount. What else is going to keep coming out?
Right.
Yeah. Now I've actually changed. I'm very against this. I'm not gonna buy the mount.
So here's the thing. So like, it's okay if you do, but like, here's the point I was trying to make. Like, they're gonna be so ubiquitous that it's gonna be almost like not cool to have it, And when someone flies in their armored nether drake, like everyone's gonna be like, "Holy shit, this guy's a glad," right? So I don't know. Like, it doesn't have that. As long as it's not like better than, I think the problem with the retail is that some of the mounts are like really, really cool or something, and the collectors and Asmongold obviously spends all day on stream trying to get these mounts, but the real mount in TBC is the armored nether drake, right? So it's or the Amani Warbear or something, right? So I don't know. It's
And the mount that I really wanted in TBC was the BlizzCon bear, the polar bear that had the Murloc sitting on the butt, and it was before they gave out the all the benefits for people that bought it at home. It was, you had to be at BlizzCon, so you'd see someone on that mount, and you'd be like, "Oh, dude, they got to go to BlizzCon!" Like, that was cool. Like, now those things you get from BlizzCon are not that cool.
Yeah, this is also a ground mount, so it is like you're gonna be using it while you're leveling, and then
in PvP.
You're gonna have a flying mount anyway, right?
Yeah, but you'll use it entirely in PvP, though.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I guess, like, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's just where it goes from here, I think, is a bigger concern. But I don't know. I think it just is what it is. It's probably happening.
Oh, I
It's gonna
hate
happen.
that. I hate that term. It is what it is. Oh, I hate that.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, they are gonna monetize Classic. It's like the same way with the paid copies that we talked about. They're just gonna try to get our money somehow, and this is an easy way to do it without doing some crazy stuff, right? It's just a collector's edition. It's not like a store mount. It's the collector's edition, you know.
Right, and I think that deep down inside, a lot of the classic community, or the ones from private servers, the ones who've been playing for a long time, I think deep down inside we wanted classic to not be as popular as it is, because if it wasn't, they wouldn't consider it a contender, right? And they wouldn't monetize it. But the fact that it's doing well enough that they're going to monetize it, it's a good sign. But at the same time, it's like, man, I kind of wish it was still kind of like that indie feel of just, I don't know.
Yeah. I just think we have to live with the fact that, okay, they can monetize it if they want you, but you don't have to pay for things like that. So
yeah, you don't have to
live your own life.
Yeah.
Well, does anybody else have anything else to add? Ayle, you've been kind of quiet.
No, like I kind of feel the same as Melderon in a sense, where it's just like I don't like it. I don't like where it's headed, and I don't want to be too negative about it. I wish they wouldn't have done it. It's a good. The interesting thing that Melderon said though as well, it's like it's good that like Classic is popular enough that they're wanting to do that, but it's kind of bad because we kind of want or at least like me and him want that really like pure, no monetization added to the game.
I just hope it costs gold. I mean, that would make me a lot happier, but we'll just have to see. It looks like it's probably not going to be that. So
yeah, it'll cost gold, and then they'll introduce the WoW token.
Yeah, and I mean,
done and done.
I almost might be okay with that.
There's no confirmation on what it's for yet, right?
The data mine implied it was the collector's edition, I think.
We're all just assuming it's something. Maybe it's something totally different. What if it's a reward for, I don't know, world first clear of T5 or something, or T4?
No, that would be freaking amazing. That would be freaking amazing.
Yeah.
I would just be like,
the optimist
yeah,
here.
that would be Blizzard of old move right there. That would be awesome. Like it would be like the mount you got from clearing Ice Crowd without anybody dying. You know what I mean? Like that would be cool.
Yeah. Realm first 70 or something.
So this is just in the data mine. The stuff was marked TBC C:DE, which sounds like it would be the Burning Crusade Classic Deluxe Edition. So that's why people are thinking it's that way. It could be something else, but from the it's obviously a tiny amount of information. But that's why
think of
I
other
think
things that DE could
it.
stand for.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean,
that's what I thought at first. That's like the first thing that came to my mind.
I just wanted to put it out there why, like,
it's the most logical assumption. It's definitely the most logical assumption. But if what Ayle is suggesting is true, I'd be very impressed, and that would a lot of prop.
Yeah. That would also make things like more interesting. Like I don't mind there being a draw to the more hardcore end of the game, because right now it's sort of only the people interested in it are interested in it, right? Like I don't think the most of the player base weren't super interested in these speed runs. Maybe the Nax one was pretty interesting for the most part, but most people were just sort of wishy-washy about it.
Sorry, there's a guy. Every night there's a guy who just drives down the road. But anyway, I think the point we're trying to hammer home, I don't want to belay this anymore, but it's like these things should mean something, right? I think that's kind of what we're trying to say. It's like I have the Black War Raptor. It means a lot to me that I got it, because that means I got the rank 11, and that doesn't seem like a big deal to some people, but to me it is, right? And I'm not a mount person unless I feel like I've earned it. And that's something that I really cherish about the Black War Raptor, is that I got this in Classic because I PvP'd a lot, and I didn't get, there's no mount for Grand Marshal or High Warlord, or I probably would have tried to get that. Honestly, I would have, but I don't know.
You know what I think they should do is I think they should add like a title that you can't turn off, that if you boost it, it just says boosted. So name. And then if you bought your mount, it just says paid for.
I'm totally making boosted Bob.
Come on, guys.
Wow.
Like you got to think in like gamer terms here. Where like, how are we going to make this feel like you're being shamed?
The credit card. That's
Oh man! All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to just a quick update. Is the level cap in TBC Beta has been moved up to 70 now. You could do Battlegrounds and Arenas. I've not gotten to try this yet because I really don't want to do it at low level. I'm kind of waiting for those 70 templates to come out next week. But have you guys tried it?
The 70 templates, or you mean
No,
level cap?
no. The Battlegrounds and Arenas.
Oh, I have not as of today, but I really wanted to get into some.
Same with me. I've been in queue a bunch, but I don't know if the servers are connected or there just wasn't other people playing. But so far, nothing. No, nothing has popped.
What's interesting is I got up super early this morning, and one of the only people who streams that early is Stay Safe. So at 8 a.m. I was watching Stay Safe stream, and he got like insta queues. And I don't know if that's because his chat was like queuing up. I have no idea, because he has a good amount of people watching that early. I think they're mostly Europeans, but he was getting in there. So I don't know. Maybe it's just because, but he's on PvP, I believe. So I'm wondering
was
if
he level 70 yet?
Yeah, he had just dinged 70, and then went right to chat and started.
Maybe that's the problem, Ayle. I think when the 70 templates come out, like I'm definitely gonna jump in. But
we're 72.
Oh, you are also?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So I don't know. It's weird. Maybe the servers aren't connected.
Release more keys.
Yeah. Seriously.
That's please.
It's kind of disappointing, man, to be honest. Like, there's been a lot of people who've gotten in who haven't done shit, and I hate.
Yeah.
I hate that. I really hate. Like, it's just kind of one of those things. Like, and I'm not talking like you have to get the 70, but like they haven't done anything, and right. It feels bad when people have access to the beta and other people don't, and other people really want to get in. It's like, especially these like popular streamers that don't do anything, and it's just.
Yeah, and lots of the retail streamers got in that played for just a little bit, and that's probably would have served better in other hands.
Yeah.
But, we'll just have to wait. I'm hoping for the 70 templates because I just don't want a PvP in a weird battleground where I'm level 64 and everybody else is like 68, 69. It'd just be weird. 69. Sorry. So, the next thing, actually, Mel and I did try, is there's a new boosted character experience. And I was thinking it was going to be something like they have in Shadowlands. But all it is you log in, you have like these few quests. Like one is to use one of your talent points. One of them is to buy one skill. One of them is to do something else. And one of them is to take a package to like different people in Stormwind. Then the next one just sends you to the Burning Crusade gate. I don't know if they're going to build on it. Yeah, to the Dark Portal. And I don't know if they're going to build on it, but it was a little lackluster. It was cute, but it was a little lackluster.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Bob, so now you know everything. To be successful in WoW, go to TBC. Have fun.
Yeah, it's like, here's the local baker. Here is the person who fixes your shoes. Here is a portal to another dimension. It's like, but have you guys seen that communal gear you get when you start? Oh my God, it's complete trash. Like the gear you start off with. Yeah. Holy God.
But
I was playing a bunch of the boosted 58s, trying them out and seeing what I could do.
Right. One thing we noticed when we made the 58 boost is that as soon as you log in, it gives you experience for uncovering the entire map. And so we were 58 boosted in 2 bars from 59.
Oh, just from going to
because
around Hellfire?
No, it literally learns.
It uncovers the entire Eastern Kingdom and Kalador.
It gives you all the experience for it. I actually submitted it as a bug because I don't think you should be able to uncover the entire map, because when Wrath comes out, that's an achievement. So like I don't think it's fair.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. It's an achievement.
And you have every flight path. Man.
I mean, I think they are intended for that. Like what's on Wowhead. I haven't done a boost since they made this change. It says that you start at like 75% of the way to 59, and then your full rested experience as well too. Is there? I assume that's just to get you to 60.
Why not just put you to 60? Like,
so they're not calling it a bug. They're calling it a feature.
Feature, yes.
That's a word I can tell you from the shaman theory crafting community. That's a word that's like, we're not sure if it's a bug, but it's like one of these things where you call it a feature. Yeah. But I think they're using the Death Knight as a template, right? Because Death Knights start at 58, And they have all the flight paths. I'm pretty sure. It's been a while since I made a death
I'm
knight, but
okay
pretty
with all of the flight paths, to be honest,
Yeah.
but I'm not okay with like even Blazing Bob doesn't have all of the map uncovered. Like that's just not fair.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
if you take a boosted character to Wrath, you just are not eligible for that achievement.
In the weeds conversation, I think that the fact that there are 58 boosts are a little bit more important than whether or not their map is uncovered. Personally,
Yeah, but I
think
mean,
we're just sort of like
that's
nitpicking.
like, but if we're gonna have it, like that's been
No, I
talked about
get
a
it.
bunch.
I mean, I totally get it. I'm on board. It's just like the concept of the character already is so extreme that talking about like what level they start at or how much experience they have or whether a map's uncovered or flight paths, it's a little odd. Something I noticed looking at Wowhead right now is that the cloth gear looks different than what my cloth gear looked like. It sounds like maybe there's visual upgrades to it, which is good because I boosted a 58 mage and he was just straight in clan gear, like just a white robes with a white hood on. I was like, this is actually crazy. I was like, it was this monotone, all white. So I don't know if that's why they changed it, but you don't look. Apparently, you look more like a witch now with a pointy hat. So
Yes, I just made a mage 58 boost to try out that thing, and I had a pointy witch hat.
I bet someone pointed it out. I think that they changed it because
Like, this looks like eerily similar to this like group of people that do bad things.
Probably not looking for that. Just saying.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
funny.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the sets are actually kind of cool. Like I'm hoping they turn them like they're pretty crappy stat wise at the moment though, but maybe they should keep them like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like they
They're
said
all-
they were going to
You're not
be blues, but I mean maybe they should just keep them like that. Like I think you should still have to do some stuff with the boost, and uncovering the map is the big one for me. But Ayle, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, like you get gear upgrades so fast, starting out in TBC. Like going in at 58, you can pretty much replace everything anyways. So I think it'd be better if they had worse gear just for the other unintended side effects of the boost, like potential bots and things like that. But we tried to do a dungeon actually as a 5-man group of all boosties. The first dungeon, we couldn't finish it.
Oh,
It was too
wow.
difficult.
And it's just
Yep.
like we freaking 3-manned, like and
Easy
like
mode.
yeah, it was with a geared warrior and a geared priest, but my lock is just like ZG geared, and we just 3-manned Hellfire easy peasy.
You should try it. You should try it.
Yeah,
And,
try it.
Hard mode. Okay,
The-
okay.
we need a
Here
couple
they-
more people in our guild to get beta access.
Yeah.
Like no one has it almost.
It
It's
was
actually
like-
crazy.
I mean, the mechanics
Def Camp-
weren't there.
Def Camp was Def Camp was complaining because he was a shaman, I think, was he? And like
yes, he was.
only 3 of his pieces had intellect and only 2 had spell power.
Yeah.
And he's like, how am I supposed to heal with this?
That's
Number
how
one,
the
number
paladins
one, he
is
always
too.
complains. Number 2. No, I'm just joking.
Dude, like that's exactly how the paladin set is. I'm like, well, this is just a mixture of stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But
All right, that's our goal this weekend. We're gonna try to finish a fresh 58 ramparts.
It
All right.
was
All right.
definitely an exercise, and it was rough. Like I couldn't believe it. Yeah, it was.
Make sure you have a couple hours.
Yeah.
God. Can I download add-ons?
So-
That's what's driven me crazy. I know they're allowed now, but initially when add-ons weren't allowed, I was like, I'm not used to pushing these buttons for all my heals, and God.
Yeah. I just
We
got
got-
I just got details working today. But yeah, in that run we did the first boss, which has the 2 healers. That was pretty easy. Then you have Omar the Unscarred, or whatever his name is, that is like the demon guy. And literally the only reason we killed him was because what was it? I think everyone died. So I died, and then everyone else died. I onked and then like killed him. But like it was like we were like, and we like all cheered like it was a raid. We were like, yeah. And then we could not kill the guy on the dragon. Could not kill him. It was yeah.
Wow.
oh wow.
Yeah, it was
That's
great.
hilarious.
Well, another thing that I did take from this that was a little weird is when I first saw this, I jumped on to check it out on PTR, not on the Burning Crusade beta. And then when I was like, oh, I need to get on the beta, I was like, well, does this mean that the boosts are only coming when TBC gates open and not with the pre-patch?
there's no boost coming in pre-patch for
I
sure.
I thought there would be.
No
No,
way.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Huh,
Why
okay.
put them at 58 if you're gonna give them time to be 60 anyway? Like, I
Right.
feel like, but
I
then
think
again, it's gonna
I
be real
think
easy
the
to get 60.
Paladin and Shamans will come
Yeah,
at pre-patch to give them time to get up because you
Well, they
can't
for
boost
sure
those.
will. That's
Oh,
been
well,
that's
hold on.
been
Bob
said.
might have a point here because everyone's going to be leveling the shamans and at least I know on Horde, people are going to be leveling paladins out the wazoo. They are not boostable, right? Neither are shamans on the
Mm-mm.
alliance. So why wouldn't they allow the other classes to boost? I don't know. Like during the pre-patch, I'm not saying that they should. I think Bob
Yeah,
might have a point.
It's
and
just
actually,
what I thought it would
kind
be.
of that point is interesting. I had truly assumed there was no chance that it would come on pre-patch, but they did specify that shamans and paladins wouldn't be boostable, which does actually make me think it could line up with the pre-patch, which I don't know about that. I have to I have to
Yeah.
think about how I feel
Wrap
about
my
that
brain
one
around that.
because then everyone is gonna like. For me personally, it'll be fun to do a couple of Naxes in pre-patch, but it's like now everyone's gonna be trying to bring their 58s. Or,
Their 58
everyone's
boost.
everyone's
The thoughts
suddenly
of an
gonna do
officer.
60. Well, everyone's gonna have so many new 60s in pre-patch that they can level their professions up on and do all these things ahead of time that I was expecting them to not have that advantage. Like you would be pretty disadvantaged coming in with a fresh 58 into TBC compared to someone who's been prepping this entire time for TBC. So I had just assumed they would not have that prep time if you're gonna get a boost out of it. But
I feel like they
know.
shouldn't. If they're allowing the boost, I feel like the boost should be when TBC launches. That makes the most sense to me. That
Yeah.
because TBC's launching, people are moving on, and you don't want to start back at 1. Okay, here's your 58. You can catch up a level and a half and be right where they are, but not if you can do it in pre-patch. I feel like that doesn't help anybody.
Yeah, it's an interesting point though. I never thought of that, Bob.
It's the timeline gets really strange. That's something I thought about as well, because don't they technically have to offer us the transfers to the Classic Forever realms before pre-patch, or you
The
could
day
transfer
of.
in like the Paladin or whatever?
The day of
Like
pre-patch, basically.
it's so there has to be a cutoff somewhere, or else unless they just make it any characters created after that point, because you could have boosted characters copied, or just I hope they release more information on this at some point, because you're right, it's getting a little muddy here, like when you can do what. And
Yeah,
Yeah,
from,
that's
You had
true.
said previously, it would be a snapshot, right? I think you
yeah,
said
from
that.
what we understand, it's
Yeah.
basically just going to be the day pre-patch hits, characters snapped, and then the
They-
first time you log into a character, you choose which server you go to, and then later on, or just 5 minutes later, you can pay to clone that character.
I'm only 80% sure I'm not making this up, but I'm pretty positive that they said that they're actually going to be entirely different games. So when pre-patch launches, there's going to be retail WoW, classic
Mhm.
era servers, and then classic Burning Crusade servers. So I think that morning of the pre-patch, you have your snapshot of whatever's on those servers already, and then you're literally picking which game you're playing from there. So you shouldn't be able to do anything wonky with weird boosts and,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
copying.
And in theory, you would be able to clone your character from that snapshot,
At any time.
Yeah, a long time down the road, maybe even years, if they decide to keep that data. There might be a cutoff time where they say this is your cutoff, but we don't know.
I do wish they gave more information with these sort of things, because even on weeks after they announced this stuff on the podcast, we were like, yeah, the boost is paid, right? And other people were like, no, it's not paid. And no one knew. There was just so little information given. There's yeah, and 58 boosts, bye, without any sort of confirmation of how things are being handled. So I don't know.
think they had all the details, though. I don't think they figured it all out yet. And I think they're kind of listening to the community. And because we all assumed they were paid boosts, they were like, well, I guess we'll make them paid. That sounds like a great idea, guys. So they were going to be free, just so you guys know.
Oh, man. All right, well, so in the next bit of news, this was pretty interesting. NanoNost shared the full story of Nostalrius. Now, you'll actually get more of a story if you go back and listen to the Countdown to Classic episode that he was on, but he did add some new part of the story, which was that he had private investigators basically coming after him for the whole giving the server codes or code to the someone help me out with the name.
Elysium.
Elysium Project, yeah. And so that part I had never heard, and I felt really bad for the guy.
I feel bad for him too. Yeah, sorry, Adele.
Yeah, no, like I think that was the big thing that kind of come out of that was just like how crazy that seemed to be, where it seemed like really intimidating for them to do that at the time they did it, and that's got to be really scary. And like he talked himself that he really pulled back from everything, the private servers and whatnot after that, because that was like, man, they're like, that's too far, right? And he didn't want to be part of it. So
yeah,
that to me that was the biggest thing to come out of that.
I just want to say that I feel bad for Nano, and I think it was wrong how they approached it. However, I've talked to a few people that apparently know copyright law way better than I do, and this could be totally off base. If there's any lawyers listening, like, tell us. You have to do certain things, apparently at certain time points, or you could lose your copyright. I don't know if this is true, but apparently you have to do. You're right. So I'm not saying that it's not a good thing to do. Like, I would not want to do this to Nano. Like, it's fucked up, right? But at the same time, from a business standpoint, I think they are obligated to. Mel, correct if I'm wrong.
This is post Nostalrius shutdown, right? That he just handed over the code to Elysium, right? So this is, listen, I like the guy. Like, this is not anything against him. It's absolutely insane to do that, to be shut down for legal purposes and then hand the ability for other people to do the same thing. That's actually worse than just having so in Blizzard's legal standpoint, he's then now distributing means for other people to do this. It's even worse than just having a private server. So the private investigator thing is crazy and scary, but I think it aligns up with that entirely. Like, you've now created a production cycle of someone to steal your copyright as opposed to you just doing it.
You're exactly right, though. But I think there's a lot of people who would not have known that was a bad idea legally. There's a lot of people that would not understand that, and that's where I kind of feel bad.
Right, but ignorance doesn't defend you. Like,
exactly.
You can't just say I didn't know, so I'm not at fault. They don't care. Just because you don't know the law doesn't mean you're not held to it. So
I don't think Jalen Brack was sitting in a chair like ha 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 when you know what I mean? Like,
I don't think so either.
I'm not saying I love Jalen Brack, obviously. Like, he said some things about the classic community that I'll never forget, and I'm sure he's not a bad guy or anything, but I'm just saying, like, he's a meme, right?
You can't take that back.
But like, at the same time, like, I don't think anyone was sitting there with like a ball and like smoke in the background and saying that we're going to get this guy. I think it's a legal recourse you have to take.
Nail his ass to the wall.
Somebody told me, like, they banned streamers that stream private servers. I've heard the same thing. They have to do it because if they don't, they're in danger of losing their copyright. And again, I could be wrong. Any lawyers in the show, write to Bob and Mel and Yip and let me know if I'm wrong. But this is what I've heard, so I don't know.
No, that's for sure. I mean, I've heard it with trademarks specifically more, but it is true that if you don't put up any defense, then you are like, it is that way. But I mean, we have to keep in mind as well too that the crazy story of like being woken up in the middle of the night by private investigators, you can't always hold. When you're working with like a contractor, you can't hold the company that hired the contractor necessarily responsible for, like, the people who make WoW are not the people hiring private investigators to go bang on someone's house in the middle of the night. Like, they're not even, they probably had no say in what happened. And then, you're hiring, the legal team is hiring an outside legal team, and that outside legal team's hiring a private investigator. It's just a whole, and
who knows? Maybe they went to his house during like regular hours 27 times and he was never there, and there was like,
or they're just like us and we just don't answer the door. We're like, who is that? I don't know who that is. I'm not answering.
But to be honest, it's pretty badass. Sorry, go ahead.
Ayle's not aggressive enough about this podcast, by the way. He like starts talking so many times and just stops. I'm sorry.
Because I'm Canadian. You did it again right now. I waited for you to finish.
I know.
But it's Okay, two things. The first one is that a lot of these papers, they have to be delivered in person as well, right? So
Mhm.
that was probably a big
Mhm.
part of it, where they had to actually make sure that they identified who it was and handed it to the right person. And the second thing was when like Mel was talking earlier about Jalen Brack. For some, it just crossed my mind where it's like they delivered the papers and then like Jalen Brack is like, "It's high noon," you know. Like,
Well, it's got to be high news somewhere in the world.
Excellent.
Oh,
like
yes.
Smithers, or not Smithers.
Like, got
Burns.
him.
Yeah, yeah.
Me personally, it would be for me personally worth the story. It's like,
That's
you
what I'm
know,
saying. I think it's kind of badass, right? Like he's an outlaw a little bit, you know? Like he's a classic WoW outlaw. I think that's pretty cool. I would own it, man. I mean, I don't have a kid, so maybe I would feel different if I had a kid in the house. But
yeah,
I don't know.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
like,
Fair.
kids are coming after me. I don't know. Maybe that would
They're
And
knocking
I'm
at my
like,
door at
well,
2 a.m.
I'm the
So
opposite
cool.
of Mel. I'm the opposite of Mel. I'm a Philadelphian, so I think this is the opposite of Canadian. So maybe it's just like me. It's like we're just we throw batteries at Santa Claus. So what do you want from me?
Yeah, we do.
Oh man, well yeah, I just felt bad for the guy, and it was an interesting story for sure. But in the last little bit of news, the beta is getting a Karazhan, Gruul, and Magtheridon a test coming up, and supposedly we're gonna have. Actually, I don't know that I've seen confirmation that we're gonna have level 70 templates, but I think we are.
We
But
have not
that's
had
coming out.
confirmation, no, but that would listen with how few people even
There is a
are
blue
in the
post. There's a
beta.
Blizzard post, guys.
Oh, there is the blue post about the
Literally
70
in that
template?
article, it says new beta realm will have level 70 template characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
available.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that's just for these short windows, right? Not the normal beta.
Well,
Someone did
know.
ask that, and we
Yeah.
haven't gotten the answer yet.
Sorry, yeah, that's what I was talking about. I forgot that these were like their own special testing realm for the raids, because I was like, there's no way there's not going to be enough people to do it. But does anyone like mind this? Is this a problem? Like with Nax, I remember seeing a lot of heated debate over allowing people into Nax before they just released it for people to try and be world first. But with Kara, Gruul, and Magtheridon, does anyone like care that we're going to be able to see content ahead of time?
Not me.
Not really.
I'm excited
I mean-
for it.
I mean, but I'm not
Yeah,
going
I'm
for world
excited.
first, so
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know, like ask Gale, like on the beta, it's hard to find a group 5 just to do a heroic. So I've only done one heroic so far. That's it. About slave pens, and it was, let me tell you, it was a significant step up from normal. So I'm not saying it's
Really?
like harder than private servers or anything like that, but I'm saying it was definitely a step up. Like holy shit, we like pulled. We did our normal pull, like, yeah, pull this mop, and we were all just dead. Like the tank just got flat. So I was like, okay, that's good. That's a good thing. I'm looking for difficulty, so I'm really happy about that.
you didn't lose
Um,
your world buffs, so it was fine.
Oh, it's so nice not caring if you die. Oh, it's so nice, man. God.
Oh man, well, actually, that's kind of interesting. We have 3 to 5 people who would be down to like maybe join up with you guys, because I mean, if there's a boost, like if there's a template, then we could be Horde.
On Horde?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to make us go to Horde? I think there's more of us, so...
I was just saying, like, we could set something up where we wouldn't have to like get pugs. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, we'd have to look at that. I know Al and I have already started to kind of think this through, so we can maybe get a third group, because I think we already have 2 groups set up, but we can probably get a third group going for sure.
How do you know 20 people?
You're asking someone out. You're asking someone out live on a podcast. You're really making them in a tough position here. Hey,
So
you want to
we
go
got-
get cheesesteaks after this, Melderon?
Yeah, I'm down. So we actually got we actually have enough people in Eden, thankfully, that got in. So we're gonna do one with Eden, then we're gonna do one with Crix. So
Sweet.
we should definitely try to. I want to do as many as possible, honestly. So
Well, if you just need
Yeah.
one, let me know.
yeah, well, I'll just PM.
I will trip the other alliance that are coming
Yeah,
on my
right?
way.
See how quickly he left us, Yip?
Yeah.
Jeez.
The alliance way, right?
Listen, I think, Melderon, since you already have 2 groups on the Alliance side or on the Horde side that you need to
I'll
experience.
tell you what. I'm down. I'll roll a Drenai, whatever you pronounce it, shaman,
There you
and
go.
I'll come over there. Yeah.
He has a Just Hoofing It bumper sticker, so he's ready to go Alliance. But yeah, no, I play Alliance too. Like I have a Alliance Paladin on White Mane, and I don't think we brought this up, but I've seen Varg flocking around and stuff. So we're actually
Have you killed
kind of
us?
neighbors.
No, he has
I'm Alliance.
a
an
Paladin.
Alliance character. Yeah, sorry. It's hard for me to get out of the fact that you play Horde.
Well, I started off as Alliance originally. I've only been Horde for Classic.
Got it.
Acceptable.
Don't
I'll
tell
accept.
no.
I already knew.
Were you an Alliance Paladin during phase 2?
I wasn't. No, I leveled up after.
Okay. Yes.
It was bad, was it?
That's
What
good.
guild are you in?
Mel still has battle scars from that.
Oh,
I'm in Risen.
Oh, never mind. They're
They're really good. Yeah, they're really good.
I don't know. It's just all right. Like,
fine.
listen, we're the 70th guild on the server. We're just still playing different games. That's all. We're on White Mane, but
We're good. We're just not really good.
Yeah, definitely. We're
I
in a
know,
lower division.
I know you're good. I remember the name because I remember like you guys have like a lot of really geared players. So you've been clearing for sure.
Yeah.
yeah, we've had like
It's-
very
it's-
little
it's
turnover.
weird. Yeah, White Man's like so different to me because like I'm trying to like take notice and find out which are like the foreign guilds, because like you do some runs with people and it's just like they're crazy. There's a lot of like mage boosters and GDKPs and stuff. It's crazy. So like I'm trying to like determine, okay, which are the groups that are going to be good, which are the good ones to go with, and things like that. And like Varg Flocket, that sounds like it's European. I don't know about this.
It's
I have a lot of
because
gear. They
Race
must be
leader
different.
is Swedish.
yeah,
He's from Sweden. One of them. We have two, and one of them's from Sweden, and it means like a pack of wolves or something
Wolf pack.
in Swedish.
Yeah.
Varg
How do you say
Flocket.
that?
Varg
Varg
Flocket.
Flocket.
Talking.
I'm still not sure if Old Turtles Never Die is a foreign guild. I'm
I
still
think
not
they're
positive.
I think
it
they're
is.
Chinese nationals who live in America. A couple of the guilds are like it's made up of Chinese people, but they're like in America, so they play on our time server. I think Old Turtles is like that, but I mean the thing is like you can't just do it by like that because sometimes these people are really good. Sometimes you want someone foreign to be doing like Mara runs and stuff for you.
There's they're
That
probably more
I wasn't gonna name
disciplined.
names, but that was exactly the guild I did an AQ20 with, and it was an absolute disaster. And there was no English, and they typed everything in I guess Mandarin or whatever the language
Mandarin.
was, and I'm just like, I have no idea what's going on in here. This is, like we're dying, like people are like it was a total shit show.
Does that not
so I'm just
happen
like,
on other servers? Is White Mane just like the only server where like you'll go into like boosts or runs and everyone's just like spamming things in Chinese? Or
not on our server. It's not like that.
that's funny. Like since I've only played on
Seems
White
like-
Mane, I feel like I don't know what like other classic WoW servers are like at all. Or like I've been grinding on my Paladin and people will leave comments like, "This doesn't sell. What are you talking about? This is worthless." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm on White Mane. Like it sells here. I don't know."
Yeah. This is great here. Whatever.
I'm just gonna say this once. I'm sorry. I was just like looking at your guild name, like kept looking at it. It's pretty Horde, I have to say. Come on,
It is
Wolfpack?
kind of, yeah. I mean, yeah, it kind of is. But
Get out
This
of
is
here.
not our real. This is not our original name. We were
Yeah.
Varglian to begin with, and we were forced name changed by
Say it
Blizzard.
again. What was it?
Varglian,
What does that mean?
it's
Wolf Den.
Yeah, but it
It
was
means
the
Wolf's
name
Den.
of one of Hitler's bases during World War II.
Oh, okay.
It was
Yeah,
also
we
the
had no
name of
clue.
our guild leader's kindergarten. Okay, so let's or like the island. It was I don't know something like that. So we didn't know.
It's kind of like one of those things like Blizzard accidentally put, the mages in a white hooded suit.
Exactly.
And they were like, oops, didn't mean to do that,
yeah.
But
fine.
Ale, if you're looking for a good DKP group, Grapes, I could send you the Discord. Runs a phenomenal one. But I mean, everybody comes world buff too. Like it's a high class GDKP. So if you're looking for one,
Yeah, I'm not anymore. Like Risen, like they've just given me all sorts of stuff. All their stuff's rotting, so like I already have full tier 3. Just like there's no point in me doing anything now. Like I got it all. So
You can come on the struggle bus with us for a few weeks if you want. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, experience
well,
the
I
other
do have
side
a
of
fresh
raiding.
60 green mage.
See, there you go.
I mean, we're not
Easy.
struggling that hard.
Yeah, we've been super lucky, but because
Yeah,
we
definitely.
have like no turnover, everyone's
Yeah.
just getting super geared. So like all our gear is going to people who have been here. No one's leaving with it. Maybe like 1 or 2 people have left with any significant gear, and
Our
so
biggest problem is trying to keep people focused and not talking about all other things in life, because a lot of things are on farm, and then all of a sudden everybody dies because
yeah, our raid is like the podcast where everyone's interrupting each other and like the raid leader's trying to say something, and Bob's like, "Hey, what do you guys think about the mount coming in TBC?"
Oh, and the corpse is like, everyone shut up.
guys. We have a good time.
We do have a good time.
Bob is our Thunder Lips. I see.
I think Kim probably beats me out at this point. Luckily, I stream, so that keeps me in check a lot more than I used to be. Because before I was streaming, I just want to talk all the time, but now I just talk to whoever's in chat.
Yes, this has been a glorious thing for us.
All right. Well, if anybody doesn't have anything else to add, then let's move on to discussion. So every time we have someone new on the show, we always like to get to know them. So let's get to know Ayle. So Ayle, when did you start playing WoW?
I started playing WoW on January 1st, 2005. It's I remember it very specifically.
The fact that he like has the exact date of playing, that's awesome.
When that release?
I remember it because yeah, it was released on November 23rd, 2004 or 5.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know the exact year, but I started just
2004,
after that,
wasn't
so-
it?
Yeah. Which is
I
Def
think
Camp's
so.
birthday, by the way.
Really?
Wow.
I'm a November baby too.
I graduated high school in
Very
2004.
cool. Awesome, but this is my section, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
I know, right?
What?
Ayle, server mute everybody else.
This is about me. Yeah. So, anyways, like I remember it very distinctly because I bought the collector's edition and then I couldn't play it for over a month. So I actually had to get a new computer built because my other one was so shitty, right? That I couldn't actually play. And what happened was, I ordered all the parts to my parents' house. I was away at college. I went home over Christmas. I built the computer, went back home, back to college with my computer built, got there like New Year's Day, fired it up. It was like a raging snowstorm. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was beautiful. I played for like 20 hours straight. It was so good.
Nice.
And so,
That's
like,
awesome.
for me, played original vanilla. My kind of thing, claim to fame, was that I was one of the few to full clear all of vanilla, KT and everything. Not many people did that. There's like kind of like a
So
mythical
few.
story behind that. There's like 50 NA guilds or something that have done it. And the cool thing about that, actually, to tie back to Risen, is that that's the same guild and raid leader that we had back then. So
Wow.
he's still playing now. I didn't play with him in Classic until the end, until Onslaught died, because I decided to go Horde, for Classic, for something different. But after Onslaught died, I went back to play with those guys. And there's actually a couple players there who I played with back in the day who still play as well. I think like 2 or 3. So
Is that Shard
That's
or am I
so cool.
lying?
that's the guy.
Okay.
He changed his name though. He used to be known as Earthwhite, and I don't think anybody knows that. It's like it's the name from like a children's story, Redwall, actually. But yeah, that's something else. So he's a super like auction house goblin. The guy's filthy rich.
That's super crazy to me because, I mean, one of, our, Mel and I's claim to fame over a lot of content creators is we did actually do a lot, almost, all of the content in vanilla. Like, we only killed 4 bosses in Nax, but our guild was just falling apart at that point. People kept leaving and we couldn't re-gear new people, but like we did a lot of the stuff, whereas other people are like, yeah, I was 12, and they didn't do that, so it's the one thing we kind of like, it's one kind of feather in our hat that we really like. But
Okay,
what
but
was it
Ale,
like though to like? Oh, here, do you have another? I was going to ask you what it was like during progression and how long it actually took from the day it opened till they dropped KT.
in
Oh,
vanilla.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was brutal. Like we were actually like a cutting edge guild as well. Like we were killing bosses really quickly. We were on the same server as Elitist Jerks, who was like one of the top guilds in the world at the time.
Yeah.
That's where Ian Casas came from. They did all the theory crafting. You know, we kind of rode their coattails all along the way. I remember for us, it took us an entire month to get 4 horsemen down.
Yeah.
Like an entire month of 3 nights a week, 3 or 4 hours a night progression. And
So
I
you were
think it
better than
wasn't
us,
for
dude. We were like 5 to 6 hours, 5 days a week. Well, sometimes 4, but mostly 5.
that's that's a lot. Like and I say that like I might be like misremembering because I also remember that we had multiple nights where we spent 8 hours trying to kill
Right.
KT.
Yeah, it
And
was like a
we would
second full-time job, right?
pretty much. I was really lucky. It was that time in my life where I was in school, and I literally was just going to school and playing WoW. That's all I was doing. And like for me, if it was any other way, like I mean, I lost girlfriends and jobs
Eh.
and stuff too at the time, but like you know, I killed KT, right? It's like that meme where I'm in the
It's
corner.
so
and, like,
cool, dude.
you know, these guys don't know I killed KT. But,
I'd be like
yeah, it
telling
was,
everybody that constantly. It'd be horrible.
and it was the kind of thing where like because we had EJ on our server, we picked up on a lot of stuff they were doing as well. So we actually used world buffs on some fights, which not a lot of people knew about, not a lot of people did. But because we saw them doing it, we did it too. And so like I think we used them to help us on Lotheb and Saffron and KT, of course, right? But we didn't use everything. I remember it was usually like ZG and an Oni head, and so for people who say like they didn't exist, they did. It's just very few people used them. Very few people knew. Like this is pre YouTube. We're talking like Warcraft
Right.
movies. You'd have to upload your stuff to it, and a lot of that stuff I think was kept pretty secret within the
Yeah,
community.
it's actually kind of crazy. We always talk about like internet speed, but one of the biggest differences between vanilla and now is just the spread of information and how
Oh yeah.
easily accessible high level information is to everybody now. I can watch a replay of someone who cleared a boss and see where literally everyone is standing and see how they're doing it. And back then it's like, how did they do it? What are these
even
other guilds
now,
doing?
yeah, it's instant too. So like being an Onslaught, we would watch speed runs. Someone would ping the Discord and just be like, "Hey, these guys did this." I would literally load up the stream and watch it live. It'd go back like a minute. Oh shit, that's an amazing strategy. Let's use that, right? It's like instant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's totally different.
It's crazy. It's funny like how this same content was so hard back then, and you'd spend days and days and days clearing the content, and then now it's like, all right, we did it in a couple hours.
Yeah, and I mean
Cool.
that's
Exactly.
because there's so much content out there.
Yeah.
But what we were doing and what Ale did was literally like figuring the fight out. You know, like sometimes you would get the guides, but before the guides came out, I mean, you guys are just like, well, let's try this, and you're looking at really not very good combat logs. Like we actually have better combat logs in Classic now than we did in Vanilla, but
Yeah.
that's pretty
Absolutely.
cool.
I also think that's why world buffs weren't popular. I mean, you died way too much in vanilla.
Yeah. There were also no gamer chairs back then either. And
True.
to game well, you need a gamer chair.
True.
And don't forget about those CRT monitors.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh yeah.
4-3.
one.
Yeah.
The
Oh
ones
my
with the big
gosh.
booty in the back.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Those
so
are the days. And
I
Ventrilo.
still remember
Did you use Ventrilo?
TeamSpeak.
Oh,
You were
Oh, interesting.
TeamSpeak.
Okay.
yeah.
And yeah, like I still remember we only killed KT 4 times in like 6 months. Like that's how hard it was. And for us, a lot of the problem with Saffron was a huge block. And you know, we were good, but like not that good, right? And it was just an accomplishment to do it. And I remember like the last time we ever killed KT was the night before TBC. We actually did it. We were kind of like the heroes of our server. We had brought in 4 people to help them get their ATS from other guilds who couldn't do it. And so like that's one really like special classic or vanilla memory for me, is that was one of those 8-hour KTs where it's like, we're not leaving until he's dead. We got to make these ATSs for people, right? And
Oh,
that was pretty neat.
Yeah,
That
my
was
level of
awesome.
play, I wasn't sure ATS was like a real item. I was like, what is
Mythical.
this? I've never seen this.
And they were so rare back then too. There was like,
oh yeah.
I mean, maybe one server, if that, right? So just crazy.
Yeah. Same with the AQ mounts. I mean, there was literally one guy on the server that had it. One. And now, and we thought that you could only have one. And then Classic comes around like, oh, you could have multiple? Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, my server had one guild that cleared next.
did you do did you play through TBC? Like, when did you quit WoW? Or did you ever quit WoW? Did you keep playing retail? Do you still play retail now?
Yeah, that's a complicated question. For me, like after doing Classic and playing so hardcore, I was a little bit burnt out by the time TBC came around. The guild like shattered into a million pieces at that point, because we'd been pushing so hard to keep going, and so I mainly PvP'd in TBC before going hardcore raiding and Wrath again, and then
Same as us.
I followed a very similar pattern after that for every expansion. I buy it, I level up, I play for 2 weeks, and then I quit. And it's been the same ever since then. Even now in Shadowlands, it was exactly the same. I played, some of my friends quit. People won't take me to dungeons, and it's just like,
Oh,
that's it.
Oh.
Well,
it's like your on again, off again girlfriend. You know.
yeah, it's, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. It's just like it's followed the same pattern. I gave retail a really fair shake like every time, and it's just like it can't hold me like Classic does. You know, the community there is too strong. Even since I started playing Classic, I've made so many friends, and
Oh yeah.
I haven't made any friends in retail at all. Like none. Like oh man, the funniest story. I was waiting to kill this like quest mob, and a guy comes up and kills it, and I asked him, hey, can you wait? I want to help out, but I just need like a moment. He just replied with an "fu," and I'm just like,
man.
oh my goodness, like
You're like, where did I go?
Oh man.
It's like being in California or like the Midwest, right? It's like they slam the door in
Kansas
your
and-
face or they open it up
Yeah.
for you.
Or being in New York, you ask someone the time and they're like, what do I look like, a fucking clock? You know?
Yeah.
Oh man.
and I know that I'm sure there are like good nice people out there, but it's I haven't found the same that I found in Classic. Even in the beta, like I've had absolutely incredible stories of meeting people, and just like we become friends instantly. Like I did all the like the Negran like 5-man hard bosses. I 2-manned the first half of them with Melderon, and I 2-manned the second half, the rest of them with this Paladin, and it was really hard, but we figured out ways to do it. And then after that, every time we're on, we talk to each other and like, how you doing? You want to go do some stuff? Let's run a dungeon. And it's just like, I just haven't made those connections since in retail. And I don't know what it is. Like, I have theories, but
I do think that's an epic part of vanilla / classic is the community.
you need people.
To
you
accomplish
need people.
goals, and people work together whether they want to or not. And in retail, it's my understanding that you can do it without other people for the most part.
Yeah, I made
or
a lot of
without
friends.
talking.
I made a lot of friends just farming arena for Savage Gladiator. I just had to like bring in healers all the time. Took me like 600 runs to get it, and like even now, I made friends with somebody, and then in phase 5, his guild fell apart, or maybe it was even phase 6, and he joined our guild and raids with us now. And it's just like, this is someone I just met in phase 1 trying to get Savage Gladiator chain, and it's just, I feel like those sort of instances of where you're doing something like that interpersonal with somebody is gone out of retail, where even if you help someone else out, you don't even have to group up with them for the mob to count for both people. So it's just like you're not like forced to connect.
Yeah, so something about the way the game is designed, it's made you feel disposable, right? And so like even like for me, even like I'm like I couldn't get a group as an arms warrior because there was they released the stats on it and they were in like the bottom half of the DPS or something. So then nobody would take them. So okay, well I'm gonna tank and then I can make my own groups. I made a group. I was kicked out of my own group Like, I was learning how to tank. And like I don't think I logged on after that because I'm just like,
You're like, that's where I draw the line.
it's like, I mean, I'm trying here, and it's just like, yeah, I'm disposable, right? So it's just like, what's the point?
Well,
Yeah, rating is like
speaking
that too. When we were rating, even we were just doing normal Castle Nathria, and it's like if someone is not performing as well, it is literally easier to kick them out of the raid because everything scales. So it's like, hey, it's fun, and I know you're this guy's friend, but the boss is easier now without you.
It's rough. And like, I
So
didn't
weird.
even make like an egregious mistake. I just like pulled the wrong pack that apparently nobody pulls. And they're like, this guy
How
doesn't know what-"
dare-
And I'm like, yeah, I'm learning the tank thing. And they just like gone.
Wow. Well,
Jeez.
Was it a Mythic Plus?
I think so, like an M0 or something.
Oh, an M0. Because I was going to say
Or-
the keystones that are timed, if you don't follow that exact route as a tank, because there's like add-ons that will tell you the route to take and stuff, like people get very upset with you.
It was a very low introductory one. Like it wasn't high
Wow.
because like I started lower than my gear was.
Yeah.
Right. And I should have been fine. Like I was over geared, I think, for it. Maybe not an M0. I'm not sure on the exact numbers on that, but
I don't even know what that
Yeah.
means. M0. I'm like,
I don't even want to know what it means.
Just gonna let that go.
But what is your what's your main classes? Like what's your do you have a main class? Do you have like two main classes? Like what are you best at or play the most?
I kind of have two main classes. Like I was actually thinking about it today. Like I still don't know if I'm as comfortable on warrior as I am on mage. So originally in vanilla I played mage, had like 200 days played on mage. I play mage with Eden, and in classic my main is warrior, right? That's what I play with Onslaught. That's what I kind of played as a main until joining Eden on my mage, right? So I feel like I have two mages, and even while leveling today in the beta and playing around, I'm like, there's still things that like I don't feel like I'm 100% comfortable in warrior. Playing a mage, I feel like it's like a second skin to me, you know, like it's an extension of my body almost more so than warrior still, I feel like.
So what was I going next? Did you play private servers?
I did dabble in the servers that we dare not say their name, yes. Quite a bit of them actually before. The funny thing was that the Nost shutdown is what got me back into everything. I didn't know these existed, and that made gaming news, and I'm like, oh my god, I can go back and play fucking vanilla WoW? Hopefully I can drop F-bomb, sorry about that. That's how excited I was, right? Yeah, and so like I went back and because of that announcement, I went and like, okay, I have to get in there and play on these, and like that was the shutdown that made like huge gaming headlines, almost like the Barbara Streisand effect or whatever, where it's like you draw more attention to something by trying to like get rid of it than just like letting it go away quietly. So like I went in, I played a bunch of those, met up. That's actually how I kind of got back in with Onslaught as well. Is like I met them on the private server and things like that, and yeah, I played vanilla, I played some Wrath, played some TBC, really kind of dabbled in it all.
Well, that brings me to my next question. Like, give us like what Onslaught was like. Like, I mean, maybe tell us a story or something you can tell. Like, give us something on Onslaught.
Sure. Well, I mean, like to take it right from their website, their goal, their mission is to like transcend platitudes, right? And like that's a pretty hefty statement. So it's really to push the boundary of everything you can do in classic. And what that means mainly was speed and how fast can you clear dungeons, like how high of damage can you do? Nothing really off the table. And in that regards, like a lot of theory crafting, basically trying to be the fastest, trying to be the best, and really just going for records and doing everything you can to literally like shave seconds off of runs.
Yeah, it seemed like Salve Dally said that a lot of the people in Onslaught didn't really expect the whole speed meta. They were more expecting a parse meta. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what he was saying.
Yeah, coming over from private servers, the way like there was kind of like 2 or 3 popular private servers. So a lot of those guilds were split up between them, and there wasn't all the competition all in one place, right? So on private servers, people would generally compete in more of like you said, a parse meta where like you're trying to set the highest record on a boss. And some guilds would do like overall like front to back speed runs, but because you couldn't really compare the servers against each other because they're all coded differently, they all had, different, armor values and even like patrols and everything like that. You couldn't really compare a full front to back one guild versus another. And even between servers, there was a bit of like the one that like I played on, like it was kind of poo-pooed because the like people thought it wasn't as good because reasons, right? So I think that's partially why that meta didn't really develop until Classic came around, where people would mainly just go for the individual boss parses. That was it. It wasn't until everybody was all in one place that everybody was at the poker table and could lay their hands out and see how it went from there.
Yeah, I get it. Well, I mean, do you regret it, or do you cherish your time with Onslaught?
Yeah, I don't regret it. I definitely do cherish it. It was like, I mean, how often can you say you've played with like the number one guild in the world, right? Like, it was
Never. I can say never.
sure.
Same.
Like, it was such a high level of competition, and like I know definitely like I was not a top player in the top guild, right? And so for me to play with people who were better than me every day, better minds, like I think I learned a lot. That's how you improve as a player as well, right? It's our guild master Quit Fay had a quote. It's like, when knowledge ends, mastery begins. And that is what we were focusing on, because generally everybody knew, and then with Classic, you kind of know what's coming. You're working on improving your gameplay, mastering things, getting better, theory crafting, improving, like basically pushing the boundaries as much as you can.
Awesome. Well, are you going to be that sweaty in TBC, or do you have a different route in mind?
No, I got the towel off the rack, and I've put that horse to rest. There is a spiritual successor to Onslaught that's playing on our server, because Onslaught's done now. Faye's retired, Clevis is retired, and I've decided I'm not going to play with them, and I've given my rose to Melderon and Eden.
Oh, so cute.
So
He chose you, Melderon. How do you feel? We need a moment.
It's a rose without thorns. Let me just say that.
He threw in the towel and joined you guys. That is
getting very romantic and uncomfortable a little bit, but let's go with it.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
Everyone
And
just
like,
reroll alliance
that's no knock. And like, that's no knock at Eden, because like Eden is a strong guild, and it was the kind of thing, if it wasn't to a certain level, like I wouldn't play there as well. Like if I felt like it was a waste of my time, and like I tell Melderon this, and he never believes me, but I'm like, man, we're like 90% of the way there to like an Onslaught. Like, we're good. And like as Bob said earlier, actually, you watched one of our KT kills that was the number one horde kill like in the world.
Yeah.
And it was by Eden, right?
Yeah, and I immediately told Dally, and he was like, "Damn, that's impressive."
And like, what? Like, I remember when we did it, we were kind of like everybody's looking around, like, "Holy shit, that was fast!" Like, why was this one so good? It was like, we were all greased up or something. It was just smooth.
Dude, Def Camp thought that his chat was freaking trolling him. He's like, "Shut up, guys."
Yeah, it's one of those things.
I know. Yeah,
it's a combination of a lot of things, right? Like talent, obviously. Okay, fine. Yeah, people are good at what they do, right? But I think there's also there's that like synchronicity that occurs between people that is hard to really capture in words. And then there's good RNG. I think all those kind of things just came together, and yeah, but not to take Ayle's thunder, but like I just want to say, like, this is about Ayle right now, but I just want to say, like, Ayle has been an instrumental part of Eden since he's joined. Like, he's got a great mind, and one of the things that I try to foster is like a difference of mentality within the officer corps. I try to get people who have really different perspectives on things, because I find out if we all have the same perspective or we all think the same thing, it's just detrimental to the raid. So Yeah.
Basically, we argue and fight a lot, and they needed someone nice and kind, and someone who will listen and come through once all the blood's been spilled, and make sure things are organized and we can move on.
Oh,
Maybe that's what
awesome.
we need.
Yeah, we actually later on this week we're going to have a episode come out that's me interviewing our two co-GMs. They both run the guild together, and they actually named Yip as one of their best officers because he keeps them out of their own echo chambers, because they came over with their two groups of friends that became officers, and Yip came in and like saved them from that echo chamber. So that was
I get to tell them they're both idiots. Normally it's idiot against idiot and they're calling each other idiots. I get it.
Yeah, I'm not either of you.
It's everybody.
So you're often plugging classic WoW.live on your stream. Like what affiliation do you have with classic WoW.live?
I'm the software developer for the site.
Oh, cool. I love it.
I've,
Yeah, it's a really cool site.
For sure. That was like a huge kind of like passion project for all of us, like, Def Camp and Melderon and Cargos, and just getting involved to make something for Classic, to be a part of that was really something special. And, to use my talents, my by day talents of being a web developer, to incorporate that in some way, I think was really special.
It's awesome.
Do you want to give a quick plug of like what the site does?
Pitch it to anyone who hasn't heard of it before.
Yeah, for sure. So it's primary. There's kind of like three main parts of the site. Oh, Bob's gone. Three main parts of the site. One is to allow people to post their own guides and submissions. So if you're somebody who has an article that you want to get out there to the world and you want to tell your part, you can do a written guide. We found that there's actually a lot of creators who make videos and live content. A lot of the content is best digested in written form. It's hard watching videos on YouTube and things like this, where you need to gather lists of things or do quests, where we still think that this written medium is very important. And Discord hasn't really done a great job of replacing that. So there still needs to be sites that have article content where you can, have things up on your other monitor, look at it, go through it piece by piece. So like that's one big portion. As well, we have a free leveling guide that was made by Navik and Egregious. And it's basically like their kind of leveling route to 60. It's a step-by-step guide with like maps and point to point, where like a lot of people like found great use of with Classic, especially with Joanna putting his site behind a paywall. There's people who want to have that helpful guide to 60. So we have that as well. And the third part of the site was our live portion, right? Which we unfortunately don't have anymore, as Twitch kind of finagled that. We used to have a Classic only section that you could go to look up specifically Classic streamers and content creators, because it's kind of annoying with how the Twitch is set up right now, where all the Warcraft people, they're all in one place, right? So we had a list of everybody we know who was a full-time Classic player and streamer, so you could go there and look for people who play specifically Classic and find them. So
That's awesome. And actually, Yips brought it up before on the show a couple times that he enjoys written guides quite a bit more because he gets more out of them. Like, didn't you say that before, Yip?
Yeah, I probably said it because it's true. I just think it's like there's a lot of wasted time when you have like a guide like Melderon's, where it's like really in depth and awesome. That's like one kind of guide, but I feel like most stuff on YouTube is just spinning wheels of like the same information, or it's just like, what's up guys, welcome to Classic WoW, and it's like, I just want to know the info, or like if I need to reference it again, if I need to reference it later, I need something written.
That's my issue, is referencing it after the fact, right? Because I hear it once and I take in some of it, but I don't have anything to look back at.
Yeah, Mel actually made her own little written guide from the video that our guild masters sent us for Nax.
Yeah,
written guides are powerful.
I don't know if it's just us because we're like older, or like I don't know if young people digest information differently, but it was the same thing. I found myself watching YouTube videos and like I'd play it and I'd be like, okay, I didn't get all that. Let me rewind it, play it again. Okay, one more time. Okay.
Yep.
And it's just
Just
like
write it down.
having it written down yeah, just write it down. You can just see it and like, or you like have to pause it because they have it written on the screen and you can't like copy paste anything, or it's just like, I think
Yeah.
there's still a space for written content, and that's what we try to do. And we've been working on an update for TBC that'll hopefully be coming out soon on the site. That'll add a TBC portion as well. And
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, that's classicwow.live. You should definitely check it out, guys. All right. I'll leave you with this last question: Horde or Alliance?
Should I cover my ears, Ale?
no, I'm a horde now, so
Oh,
I've got to go with that. I've lived the way of the Wind Fury for too long. Yip, it sounds like you're a warrior. Man, watch out for that. Once you get a taste of that. I mean, the good thing is, I guess everybody gets it with TBC, right? So
Yeah, we'll have it soon. And you know what? I appreciate going from Alliance to Horde. I totally get it. Like there are people who, are really they're smart, they're career driven, they live in cities, and they want to go live in the woods. They want to go just survive off the land, and that's what going to Horde is like. You can go live in your stick mud hut. I'm gonna stay in my Stormwind city though. So
I actually do prefer the Alliance, just aesthetics and things like that. Like
oh yeah.
maybe I actually am Alliance because Alliance feels like home, even though that where I hang my hat now is the Horde, right?
Yeah, it's funny about the Wind Fury thing. Def Camp, Espen was streaming, and it was right when the beta started. And Def was watching his stream. He's like, man, I wish I had a shaman to test Wind Fury. And Def had logged on and said, listen, dude, I said in chat, like, hey, dude, I can do it for you. And he's just invited Def Camp. So they go into this like quest in Hellfire where there's like in this mine. And come in. Sorry, the dog just opened the door. And so S-Fan's standing there. You see like Def Camp come into frame, and he drops Wind Fury Totem, and like S-Fan procs Wind Fury, and he's like, "Oh my god!" He just starts losing his mind, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, "Oh yeah, they don't have it in Classic." It's just so crazy.
To be fair, oh no, I got the to be fair. Yes, it's mine. You guys, I don't know if you guys know what you're missing with Salvation. I'm sure you have an idea. But like last night we're doing ZG, and like oftentimes there's not enough paladins in ZG to put Salvation out. And it's like, it's so much more annoying to tank without Salvation. I have to like be on the ready. I have to be like the first person to hit the boss to make it easy. People are just pulling left and right. So, oh man, I don't want to do it.
As far as like, I think we had this conversation before about like, if a computer would play WoW, it'd pick Horde because of but humans, error is prone, right? So you guys definitely have the advantage when it comes to like, organization, 100%.
Well, and that became obvious when the majority of the first guilds to clear Nax were Alliance guilds, It's like the proof is in the pudding. Or as Yip would say, it is what it is.
Kings are great. Kings and Salve and Wisdom, like comparing them, there's like, paladins have a mana totem, but you got to move it and recast all the time. Or like a Wisdom is like a free mana totem that you just keep forever,
Well, right. And Kings just keeps getting better and better as you get more gear and you get world buffs. I remember I was like, why is my crit so low? I was like, can I get Kings? And like I went up almost 3% crit. I was like, whoa, it's just crazy. But all right, well, we'll go ahead and move on. We have a little bit more time. Does anybody just want to bring up a topic about the TBC beta, how they've been, like playing it? Like Mel and I have been questing. I will say it does feel pretty easy, but it could just be because of the gear, like you guys were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, like if you guys are in tier 3 equivalent, it's it doesn't really get hard until heroics, I think.
I'm in ZG gear 64 and still haven't really found any
warlock,
replacements.
Though.
Oh, you're on the warlock, right?
Yeah, which is way.
I'm on my priest, and it's
When do you get seed, by the way? Like, have you gotten seed yet? Seed of corruption?
70 is seed.
Bro, just wait. Just wait until you go to a dungeon, and dude, it's wow.
I played Locke in TBC. I played Rogue and Vanilla, but yeah, I definitely remember Seed and remember SLSL. I'm not going to really PvP much in TBC with the Warlock this time around. I'm going to concentrate PvPing on the Warrior because I've already done the Lock. So, but I'm pretty excited to actually check out because I'm like Ayle. I never really did any PvE in TBC, so it's like new content for me going forward. I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, Melderon doesn't know that, so.
Doesn't know what? Oh, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there's no way. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's something that's pretty interesting as well. Is that we've kind of felt like it's been really easy. Like for example, we did Shattered Halls at 68. Same with Steam Vaults. It was a little bit taxing on healer. Like Melderon's kind of like looking like, really. If it felt easy to us, like we didn't have, or it felt easy to me, I guess I should say. Us being really
okay. Let me just preface this. I hadn't healed at all. Okay, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to heal a Shattered Halls?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm in tier 3. Yeah, whatever." So I go in there, and man, like it might have been easy for you guys, but like I had to spam max rank healing wave on the tank, like nonstop, or he'd die. So I don't know. I'm not saying that it was hard. I'm just saying that like I don't know if someone with less gear could have done it.
That's, it looks so easy.
Which one is this?
Shattered Hall. It's like the last Hellfire dungeon. It's like the highest level. It's like the 70 dungeon.
Yeah, we haven't done that one yet.
Yeah, but we haven't done it on Heroic yet either. I'm really eager to see what it's gonna be like on Heroic.
Yeah, so I really want to get keyed and see because like at least for me, like doing the 70 dungeons with the gear I have, it's been really hard for me to find gear upgrades still at 70. Like most of the stuff is kind of side grades or I think I have maybe 3 or 4 pieces that I've upgraded, but the rest still same from Classic. But having that BIS gear I think is going to be pretty different because going into TBC before, people weren't this geared. People are
definitely
super
not.
geared. So it'll be interesting to see. Like I think until you get to heroics, like Melderon said, for really geared people, it's probably going to be kind of easy. It shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah. I mean, there was very few people that went into TBC before with Nax gear, much less KT gear and Saffron gear. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, I was worried about that. Like the draw of a fresh TBC server for me would just be that, like how difficult things are going to be without carrying all this gear in. Versus everyone I'm going to play with is going to be decked out, unless they're re-rollers or they're playing shaman or something.
That's the only motivation to raid right now, though. For people, in my opinion, is that they know they can take that gear with them.
Oh yeah. Like I mean, I'm the same way. I want the best gear going in, but I could just I can understand the desire for these things to be very difficult, and I think they would be very difficult if you're you're in your quest greens and you're trying to go into heroics or something. I mean, it sounds like they're still going to be a little bit difficult, and if you have like a half gear, half not geared party, then it'll still be fun. I just want things to be fun.
Yeah, during questing, I've only died one time, like actually legit died. Like I've died because I jumped off this thing because I thought I could survive in the water in Zangarmarsh, but it was only like knee deep and it died. And then I've died AFK a couple times.
So many times.
Would you jump off the city?
It's because I jumped down with Levitate and he's like, okay.
Well, I was just like, there's water right there. I bet I could hit that pool. And I hit that pool, but it was only knee deep.
Oh my God. I feel like, okay, here's something I want to bring up about TBC. That little city in the questing area at the beginning, well, like the second zone, that you have to take the elevator up.
Delar or something.
Yeah. How many people have tried to get on the elevator before it, because it comes down
and fall through the crack
goes in? Right? And if you run before it goes in, you fall down and then you can't get back up before the elevator goes back up. And it's the longest elevator ever.
Yeah. Dude, and I think North went on Josh's podcast one time and said he didn't want flying mounts. He just wanted elevators. And I thought of him right there as I was like, forget elevators. Like I'm just sitting there waiting for him.
And we recently both got flying and man, that felt... As much as I hate flying when it comes to World PvP and interaction, man, it felt so good to mount up and fly.
Yeah, your
incredible.
hair's in the wind. You just feel like you're on fire. I mean, it is fun.
It is.
Yes.
Any other
Think of
cool
how much
experience?
safer your world buffs would have been in Classic if you had a flying mount.
People would
The dispel
meta
meta would have been crazy.
Yeah, the dispel meta would be awesome. If people would just be doing these kamikaze flyby.
naked shamis just fly by bombing.
Sham's just purging as they're falling down out of the
Witness me.
Exactly.
Have
That's
you
gonna
done
be
anything else really cool? Because I mean, I've really just been questing. It's been, it hasn't been as exciting as what you guys have been doing. I've been watching you guys all on. I've been watching Ayle. I've been watching Def Camp's stream, and it's been really neat. But any other stories you might have?
Trying to think. Outside of heroic, the one heroic, haven't done any PvP yet. Done all the dungeons though. Experienced them all at least. I think overall the quest scripting has been so good. I mean, like I've only come across like maybe one thing that I was like, maybe this is a bug. Also
really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, after day 1 or 2, it got pretty solid.
Yeah.
It got better. Yeah. I mean, there was a lot where I was killing them and they weren't counting as kills. And I was like,
Oh, really? Wow.
What?
I didn't.
And I didn't even realize it until I killed like 5. And then I'd be like, oh.
And then quest items weren't showing up in my bag day 1 and 2. And I'd have to even /reload wouldn't show them. I'd have to quit the game and reopen it to see them.
Yeah.
And that was before add-ons. So I know it wasn't my add-ons fault.
They've been doing a ton of fixes. There's
Yeah,
a
the
lot
hot
of
fixes have been
improvements.
flying out.
I've
for
done my
sure.
part in the beta and submitted many, many bug suggestions.
Yeah, I remember like day 2 of beta or day 3. I was like, oh my god, TBC is so far away. Just because like there were so many just blaring bugs, but they fixed so many so quickly.
Yeah, it came out very rough for sure.
It did.
But they're going fast. I mean, they're flying. I really wasn't expecting the raid testing to come next week, to be honest.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think that means we're pretty close. What are your guys' thoughts on when pre-patch will release?
Oh, that's a good question.
I'm going with the data mine.
I'm
and
still a
the
May 18th believer.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, gives us, well, hold on. Let me see something. What are the raid April 13th, 14th, and 15th are the days that they're testing the different raids?
Yep.
Hmm.
And then what I think they'll keep the beta open until the end of April. They'll do some PvP and maybe some arena testing, get everything else cleaned up by the end of April, and then maybe a couple weeks break and then into the pre-patch, I think.
Yeah. I think that's pretty close.
I wonder if
They're
they're going to
staying on target, guys.
You think they're going to give the buffs like they did for Nax? Because that was kind of cool how they did that, so that you didn't really know how hard or easy it was.
Well, the interesting thing with the pre-patch as well is the potion system going to be in? Is the no world buffs going to be in? Because they said there won't be any world buffs in raids for TBC. Is that only TBC dungeons or is that also for Classic, right?
I
Oh,
think
you
once
mean
the
lower
pre-patch
dungeons.
comes, I feel like we are completely moved in because that's when we have to decide which way we want to go. And I feel like at that point, you're completely moved in. I guess my question more so on that front would be, does it just apply to TBC dungeons or can you no longer go into Nax with world buffs?
I don't know, right? And it's the same thing because if the pre-patch has the potions in TBC, like everything's a battle or a guardian elixir, right? So is it flask or battle guardian?
Holy shit, you
Oh,
just
no.
made me think, what if you can't go into Nax with world buffs
I know.
after pre-patch? Holy crap, mind blown.
Way
Maybe
to
that's-
really bring the conversation to a whole another hour-long thing that we should discuss at the very end. Oh my god, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I was
Maybe-
more talking about, here, you go ahead and I'll follow up.
Yeah, that's kind of like the same thing before. Is like what parts of this is Classic only, and what is it that's TBC, right? They haven't really said because they're going to be separate game versions. You have to select. I mean, it could go either way at this point. We don't know until we get in there.
Well,
Am I the only crazy one? Everyone we've been, and when we talked about the Chrono Boon Displacer and stuff, we were talking like it was coming out in our version of the game, but I don't think it is, right?
No,
Am I
don't think it
crazy?
is.
No,
Like,
it's
No.
coming
there's
out for
so-
classic era servers specifically.
It said classic
Right.
era.
I know, but like there are so many people, especially in our guild and stuff, we're talking like, what are we gonna do to optimize with it? But we're not
Oh, no.
we're not gonna be using
We're not going to do
Right?
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 5 of you from our guild that's going to go play classic era server, you could do something with it.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I was kind of. I don't think it really fixes anything.
No.
I'm in the all or nothing camp, right? I'm either in the ban them with like martial law or literally provide, and I kind of akin these to heroin use because to me they are a drug. Provide safe injection places where people just get the buffs. You know,
Right.
like you do one or the other. I don't understand this middle ground because you still have to get them.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, people are still going to raid log. It's just I don't think there's enough.
Well, they're
fix
going to
it.
get one. They're going to take it away. They're going to get to the other place, log out for an hour, then come back up, put it back on, get the other one, put it on, raid log for an hour. Like, it's just going to make the process even worse, I feel like, than it is now.
Here's my take that so I think that if there were fresh classic servers, I say yes, do one of those things. For me, for classic era, I think it's weird to change up the meta too much. For me, it just seems like they're like, okay, we consider dispelling a version of griefing that we want to fix. And this is how they're trying to do it without getting rid of the whole you have to go get world buffs. You know,
Yeah.
you have world
Yeah.
buffs to do knack. So like for the classic era specifically, like copying your character over, I get why they want to kind of keep the meta basically the same. It's not like I like the solution. If they were going to do fresh, I'd be like, please just get rid of them, or please just have like the NPC we talked about to put them on. But for classic era, like I guess having some sort of middle ground to get rid of griefing, but still have like the annoying parts of the buffs in.
Yeah, I
just
mean,
to keep it similar.
You
like
can't-
I said the same thing you did, Melderon, on last week's episode, but then Yip did point out that for classic era specifically, you know, it's probably an okay decision, and like I did, you know, change my mind on it.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to look at the class you're playing too, right? Especially warrior is not as effective without world buffs. And if you're choosing to go to classic era servers on your warrior, you don't expect to just be worthless at that point.
Right. Yeah, no, 100%. And I would have been okay with them just giving an NPC to like, here are the buffs. They're not
Yeah.
dispelled. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, it was crazy. So when I was playing TBC, I've played my warrior so much with world buffs. It felt like a different class. With
Oh,
the-
it is.
like,
You have
TBC.
to heroic strike cancel. Oh, in classic, if you don't have world buffs, you have to heroic strike cancel constantly to keep rage generated. It's just such a different game.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like because like I've done this like high end raiding for so long on my warrior, always raid logging with world buffs. I'm like a soldier. It's just like I get amped up and go in like Captain America or whatever, right? And then, now I get the beta and I'm like, is this what rage generation is like? This has gotta be done. And
What
it
is
did
this
change.
crap?
Yeah, I was like, ugh. And Rampage was bugged at the start, so we got way more attack power. So I'm like, okay, it's it's a little better. And then that gets fixed. I'm just like, I can barely kill 2 mobs.
yeah. No, it's I have noticed that melee is part of the whole TBC meme is like, okay, melee suck, right? And I've actually decided, I'm not sure if this is going to be 100% yet, but I'm leaning very strongly towards enhancement. I was going to go elemental originally, and it's because I main Frost DK, some version of DK from Wrath onward. I have the most experience and the most gameplay on a Death Knight than any other class in the game, and enhancement shaman feels very much like Death Knight. It's very, very similar. So I was like, I fell in love with it immediately. Like it was one of those things where I was like, okay, this is what I know how to play. And what I can say is, I don't think it's so much the damage is inferior. I mean, it may be, and we're still seeing that, but just the mechanics are so melee unfriendly, and even in dungeons. So I'm noticing this very quickly already. Ayle, have you kind of noticed the same thing?
Oh no, I'm amazing. I have no problem at all.
Piece of cake.
Piece of cake. Yeah, no, like for example, today in a dungeon, the Death and Decay ticked me twice for 3k in a row, and just killed me.
Yeah.
Just burp. And
Thanks for
Steam
playing.
Vault's the Thunderstorm. It was the same thing. It was just like dropped it on melee, just 2K, 2K, 2K done. It was like, holy mackerel! Like it's, yeah, you got to really be on your balls. I think it's gonna on the balls of your feet. That's a little Canadianism, you know. It's,
Canadianism.
It's when you get older and the balls hang, and so you sit on them. You know, that happened to Nick Nolte. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, I mean, in our guild at least, you can see it on fights that are a little harder mechanically on melee. Performance just tanks like insanely. So I would expect that to be the same for middling guilds at least, where melee will probably struggle unless you're used to mechanics. And honestly, it's classic vanilla is very forgiving for melee. So many fights are just you're just standing behind the boss the whole time. Very easy to do it.
Yeah, and then you, as your body, your corpse, you pan your camera and you see the warlock just spamming one button and
they're like smoking a freaking cigarette with the other hand. Oh man,
I got this.
But my question actually, I might have actually said it wrong. I was saying for the pre-patch, or not pre-patch, the testing of the Karazhan, Gruul, and all that next week. I wonder if they should give everybody the buffs that they gave for the next PTR testing, so that it kind of waters down, so that you don't know how hard or easy it's really going to be.
I think they want to test the difficulty level though that they've increased it to, right?
Okay.
Because they changed the difficulty level to the original or whatever it was, and I think they kind of want to test and see if that's at an okay spot. I think that's why there's such short windows.
There's also no prestige involved. Like I think that for the most part, Nax has like this. It's Nax. No one's done it. Like no one's ever been here before, basically. And yeah, like you have no idea how hard it's going to be, and they didn't want people like that. You know, the world first stuff was way more important for Nax than I think anything else. Karazhan, it's like I don't even think maybe, but I don't care who gets world first in Karazhan. I don't care who's doing Magtheridon before me. Maybe like tier 5 that will be come into play, and maybe people will be more upset with tier 5 stuff if you can just try everything out and learn around, you know, how you're gonna do it. But Karazhan, I think it's fine to be normal difficulty.
The first raid content we've seen on a beta, not a PTR beta. So I think it should be the full thing. I think it should be the actual raid, no buffs. You know, personally.
I'm curious to see how difficult it is versus what people expect, because they said they are increasing the difficulty level of it, and I don't know if that applied to dungeons prior to raids.
Yeah, heroics.
The only thing they said was, well, they didn't say anything like.
They didn't
it's
say
just
anything.
the pre-nerf. Yeah, it's like the pre-nerf values. So a lot of things are just going to do a lot of damage. But yeah, I'm interested to see, because like you'll I mean, so much stuff. Even when like Vanilla Classic was coming out, was conjecture, and I feel like there's so much of that right now, where people are like, I remember doing Prince Malchezaar the first week, and he one-shot all the tanks. Like he just one-shots you no matter what gear you're. So it's like I do want to see what people are talking about.
Well, yeah, and some of the pre-patch stuff was bugs too. Like, so are they just gonna give us the bugs? I just don't know.
Do it.
All right, guys. Well, anybody have anything to say before we end it out here?
I have an add-on.
Oh, okay. Well, let's move on to the add-on of the week.
This week's add-on of the week. So the add-on of the week this week is one that we haven't used yet, but I think it's going to be super useful. It's called Go Loot, and it basically just makes being the loot master a million times easier. So we have this problem where when you have a threshold, like let's say you don't pick up, you know, blues don't get rolled out like we have right now for scraps and Nax. Every scrap that drops, you got to click it. You got to click who it's going to. You got to click the scrap. You got to go where it's going to. Go Loot lets you set basically loot priorities where certain loot can go certain places. So white loot can go somewhere, epics can go somewhere, blues can go somewhere, and then you just loot like a normal person. So you just right click the mob and it'll just kind of auto loot it to that destination, as opposed to having to like click through the in-game master loot windows. So that should be super useful going forward.
That is super
I wish
cool.
we knew about it sooner.
Yeah, that is really neat.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I feel like now I won't have to look at sparkling mobs that I can't loot anymore with just like
Oh, it drives me
healing.
nuts. Yeah, it drives me nuts.
Or we'll just put it on group loot and roll them out. I mean, we'll see what solution we go with, but go loot sounded interesting. So it might be worth a shot if you're struggling with master loot issues.
You might need that actually.
Yeah, because I actually just found out that you couldn't have multiple master looters, and I was like, oh my god, that's got to be horrible.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, let's go ahead and end it out. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at WC Reloaded. You can follow the Mash Those Buttons Network at the Mash Network. If you want to send us something a little longer, you can send your emails to wcrpodcast@gmail.com. If you'd like to join the Discord and interact with the hosts or any hosts on the Mash Those Buttons Network, you can do so by going to mash.gg/discord. How can you help out the show? Podcast ratings on iTunes, on Apple Podcasts, or on even warcraftradio.com/directory help us a lot in getting seen. So help us out that way. The other way you can help is just tell your guild about the show. You spread the word. Post it in a Discord. Yell in Walmart that you love Warcraft Reloaded. Whatever you can do to help us out, we appreciate it. All right. Where can we find you, Ryan?
You can find me mainly on YouTube at youtube.com/cognitivepit, or on Twitter. I check it once every 3 days, maybe. So you can find me there at Cognitive Pit.
Nice.
That's more than me.
I know. Me too.
Oh, and Mel, where can we find you?
Really, your best bet is Whitemane on Mel Arena, but you can find me on Twitter at MelOverwatch.
Awesome. And Melderon, where can we find you?
Def Camp and Melderon TV, and that "and" is an ampersand symbol. That's our YouTube channel. Got Twitch at twitch.tv/defcamp. That's where Defcamp streams. I don't really stream, but if you want to follow me, it's twitch.tv/Melderon. You might catch me once or twice a month. Twitter is at def_meltv, and then classicwa.live.
Yeah, and I really say you should check out Def Camp's stream, because he's been popping off. He talks to chat the whole time. I don't know how he does it, but it's a really awesome stream. You also get to hear Melderon on it quite a bit. And
usually bitching at Def Camp, but yeah, I'm on there.
Yep. I mean, the best is when you guys do the duo hardcore challenges and you just yell it at Def Camp.
Oh my god.
Oh man. All right, Ayle, where can we find you? Feel free to plug whatever.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitch at Ayle Gaming, and I'm streaming beta pretty much full time until it's done during the day. So swing by, say hello. I'm also playing with the other two guys a lot too, Def Camp and Melderon.
Yeah,
so
he is.
taking their heat.
Awesome.
I just want to reiterate what Ayle said. Ayle is also full timing now, so please head over to his Twitch. If you respect my opinion at all, please go over to twitch.tv/Ayle Gaming. Give him a shot. He's a great streamer, and he's very knowledgeable about the game.
Yeah, and that's AYLE Gaming. So check it out.
You got your Twitch Primes. You know what to do with it.
All right, you can find me on Twitter at blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. You can also find me randomly streaming on Twitch at twitch.tv/blazinbob. Whew, guys, let's get out of here. Fantastic show. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
Yeah,
Of course.
guys.
You're welcome.
Anytime. Always a pleasure.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we are out.
Bye.